What's up, everybody? GeauxBurns cruising around New Bordeaux, giving you my review of the latest Mafia 3 free update, custom rides, and racing. Now, with all my reviews, we go over the pros, we go over the cons, then my final verdict. By the way, let me know your thoughts regarding the latest free update from Mafia 3 below in the comment section. First off, the pros. You now have the ability, thanks to custom rides and racing, to take Lincoln Clay's fleet to Big Rick's, which has 9 locations throughout New Bordeaux, in order to customize your vehicles. And apparently there's up to 50 mods total you can choose from regarding modifications, which includes superchargers as well as exhausts, body kit, which includes the front lip as well as spoilers, the paint shop, body paint, decals, window tint color, wheels, which is 2 versions, standard and performance, and of course accessories, which is interior colors, and some vehicles actually get additional accessory options depending on the vehicle. The other pro is of course 3 new outfits added to the game, which continues to build up on the previous free update regarding Lincoln's clothing options. You have Bad Mr. Burke, which is his Super Mario cosplay look. You have On the Prowl. Yes, in the words of Lucius Fox, it does come in black. And my personal favorite of the 3 new outfits, the Classico Mafioso outfit, which also includes a new weapon, the El Duca revolver, both of which you can get by linking your My2K account. The next pro is, of course, the 12 races, which include 6 circuits as well as 6 point-to-point races. You have the ability to earn money, unlock mods, and of course, if you win first place in all 12 races, which is what I'm attempting to do in my Mafia 3 Racing Badly series, you will be able to unlock the Griffin Marauder. So this sweet ride is the coveted prize at the end of the racing rainbow. So if you get first place in all 12 races, this sweet ride can be yours. And the final pro is the fact that this is a free update. Though some people will make the argument, and I agree with this argument, by the way, the fact that a lot of this content really should have been in the game to begin with. But at least it's in the game now, so that's the way I see it. Now, some would consider this to be a con, the fact that this free update should have been in the game to begin with, but I'm going to give Hangar 13 the benefit of the doubt because this was their very first AAA game that they've made. So hopefully, in whatever future IP they're working on, whether it's a Mafia 4 or a Mafia prequel or something else entirely, hopefully Mafia 3 has learned and will be able to bring in a game that has more content than Mafia 3 had when it launched on October 7th. Now, let's get into the cons, shall we? By the way, if you have pros and cons that I did not mention, feel free and list those below in the comment section as well. The first con is regarding Big Rick's. The lack of camera angles in that garage. Now, basically, it's just one image. Like for the front, you get a side image of the car, and depending on what you're modifying, you get like one shot. Now, sometimes it's okay. Like with the front lip, it gives you a pretty good shot of the front lip. The same thing goes for the spoiler in the back. But like whenever you're like trying to pick out a paint job or a decal, you do not have the ability to move the car around with the camera, looking at it from the side, the front, the back, above, left, right, etc., in order to, get an idea of exactly what this paint job is going to look like. And so ultimately you just have to, bite your tongue and just pick a color and hope that it works out. And unfortunately, a lot of the camera angles for various parts, depending on which one you're going for, makes it very difficult to see exactly what it is you're picking between when it comes to these mod options in Big Rick's. So I really wish that there would have been multiple camera angles that we could choose from when we're inside the garage. The next con is, of course, you can only customize the 6 to 10 vehicles in Lincoln's fleet. And this is something I've had issue with the game for the longest time, is unlike Mafia 2, where you could basically have almost any vehicle in the game. You could steal it, you could take it to the custom shop, and you could customize it to your heart's content, and then you could go park it in Vito's garage. And I think you could have I don't know how many you could have, but you could have a few. But the point is, you could pick and choose which cars you wanted and which cars you didn't want. Here, you don't really have much of a choice. They're like, okay, so here's the 6 cars you get to eventually unlock. But if you're able to have the family kickback bonus, whether you pre-ordered it or you purchased it for $5 US, you get 3 additional vehicles. That's 9. But then once you complete all 12 races, first place unlocks you the 10th car. But in the end, those are the only 10 vehicles you get. You can't take a vehicle off the street and customize it and put it in your garage. And that's definitely a con, in my opinion, regarding Mafia 3. The next con, of course, is the new classification of vehicles in the game, specifically for racing. Now, the muscle cars are classified as sports cars when I don't understand the need to do that. All they had to do was just classify them as the muscle class. That would have made a hell of a lot more sense, because all 3 muscle cars that you can use in the muscle car racing are muscle cars. There are no sports cars in this category. So why they called them sports class is beyond me, especially since the cars in the quote-unquote exotic class are sports cars in 1968. So it really seemed unnecessary for them to reclassify these vehicles into classes that they don't really belong to in their particular races. The next con, of course, is the races themselves and how it doesn't really feel as epic as it could be, because basically what it comes down to is you versus 3 NPCs. That's it. A grand total of 4 cars in a race, whether it's down the bayou or it's in the hollow or up in Point Verdun or going through downtown. It's 4 cars. And a lot of times it's the same 4 cars. The same 4 cars in the muscle category, sports category, and the same 3 cars in the muscle category you go up against. And sometimes the NPCs look different, but usually it's like the same, like lime green car, a white car, blue car, and I believe it's probably going to be the same thing for the sports, exotic class as well. So there's a very lack of randomization when it comes to the cars that you're racing against in the races. And I think that kind of takes away the illusion that you're getting into these various different races across New Bordeaux, whether it's down in the bayou or up north. It's the same cars that you go up against every single time, depending on which class you're racing in. And that's another issue, is the fact that you have to do a specific class per race. Like the bayou, you cannot switch it from sports to exotic, and you cannot switch the race in the hollow from exotic to sports or vice versa. You're set with the specific class that the race was designed for. And that leads to some more cons that I have issue with. Lack of ability to not only change the vehicle class for the race, but the time of day, weather, reduce traffic if you feel like removing the traffic from the race, because it can be a major pain trying to race through the streets of New Bordeaux with, it being basically rush hour in town, and it's almost impossible to race when it's like that. So I really wish that the races had that ability, but unfortunately we did not have that option in the races. The next con, of course, is while Mafia 3 is a single-player game, obviously, I feel like they missed out on a big opportunity here when it came to the races to make them potentially multiplayer races. I think that would have been a really cool thing. I realized that would have taken a lot of effort, and it would have required servers and maybe money that Take-Two wasn't willing to spend, but it would have added some serious replayability to Mafia 3, because then it would have players going into the custom shops, fixing up the Drifter or the Stallion, the Leopard, the various other cars as well to their heart's content, making them look as unique as you can. And then you have the ability to not only race against NPCs for money and the ability to unlock modifications, as well as eventually the Griffin Marauder, but you could also take your rides into the races against other players, whether it's against 3 other players or 10 other players. I think I could live with the fact that it was only up to 4 players, 4 racers, if it was multiplayer, but at least then it would have some replay factor to it. That'd be another reason for you to get on Mafia 3. Even though it's a single-player game, it would have been nice if there were a few multiplayer elements to it, and I think a big one could have been races. Next, of course, is the lack of a race creator, because we're only set with 12 races. As I mentioned, 6 of them are circuit races, 6 of them are point-to-point. And that's all you get. You get 12, and you're done after that. I wish that we had the means to create our own races. Big races, small races, silly races. That would be really awesome if we had that means in the custom rides and racing update. And the final con I want to mention is an issue that actually is something a lot of people have a problem with throughout most of the game itself when it comes to traveling around the map, is the fact that there is no quick jobs menu for the races. The fact that if I want to get into a race over in Hollow Point or Point Verdun or down the bayou, I can't simply go to a menu and select the race and then wham bam, I'm there at the starting line and I'm able to race the race. I have to drive all the way down to the bayou or to the Hollow or to Point Verdun, etc., in order to get into said race. And this really makes me wish, once again, that there was some form of a fast travel element in Mafia 3. And it simply could be just from the races. You click on the race, you fast travel to where the race is, or you fast travel to your safe houses, something like that. If there was some fast travel in this game, it would make it a lot better, in my opinion, for both races and for just free roaming it. Obviously, during missions, you don't really need a fast travel, but in order to get, if you're in between missions and you want to go start a mission with Donovan or Burke, Vito, etc., then you'd have the ability, instead of driving across the entire map, just to quickly fast travel from point A to point B in order to initiate said mission. So anyways, there are my pros, there are my cons regarding the Mafia 3 custom rides and racing update. Now, my final verdict is, despite the issues that I obviously have with this update, I do bear one thing in mind, that it is a free update. It didn't cost us anything, even though technically this update should have been part of the game to begin with, along with the clothing options at launch. But it wasn't. At least Hangar 13 listened to the fans and eventually put the content into the game. And it's made Mafia 3 an even better game now than it was at launch on October 7th, along with the patches that continue to roll out. So it definitely added some more customization for Lincoln Clay's fleet of vehicles, along with 3 new outfits that all 3 of them are really cool, by the way. Bad Bad Mr. Burke, On the Prowl, and of course my personal favorite, Classico, as well as the races and a brand new vehicle that we have the ability to unlock. So let me know below in the comment section your thoughts regarding the latest free update to Mafia 3, custom rides, and racing.